Patricia walked into her salon last September and said 3 words her stylist had never heard before. She said, "Just fix it." 64 years old, the same haircut for 9 years. She'd stopped looking in mirrors, not because she was vain, but because the woman staring back felt like a stranger. Her stylist gave her one of the 7 cuts I'm about to show you, and the next morning, her daughter called before 8 a.m., not texted, called, and said, "Mom, what did you do? You look like you again." She hadn't had surgery. She hadn't lost weight. She changed her haircut. Before we start, I need to warn you about the one haircut that's been quietly adding years to your face every single time you get it. Most women over 60 are still getting it, and their stylists will never tell them to stop. Then I'm going to show you 7 cuts that do the opposite. And at the very end, 3 things your stylist knows but will never say out loud, including one that will permanently change the conversation you have in that salon chair. Here is how you know if you've been getting it. Has a stylist ever described your cut primarily using the words wash and wear, low maintenance, or easy to manage, not as a benefit, but as the whole point of the cut? That is the granny cut, and it is the most common reason women over 60 leave the salon feeling older than when they walked in. Here's what it does to your face. It eliminates softness, the single most youthful quality a haircut can have after 60. It flattens the crown. It shifts attention downward toward the areas of the face that change most visibly with age. And it removes all movement from the hair. Movement is what separates hair that looks alive from hair that simply sits there. Every cut on this list does the opposite. Each one lifts the crown, creates softness around the face, draws the eye upward, and works with your natural texture. I'll connect each cut back to exactly which of those 4 things it does best, so you can find the one that solves your specific problem. Let's start. Haircut number 1, the soft layered bob. Picture yourself on an ordinary Wednesday morning. No occasion, no event. You walk past the bathroom mirror and for a second, just a second, you stop. Because you actually like what you see. That is what this cut delivers. The soft layered bob sits between your chin and your shoulders. Not a blunt chop. Not a heavy block. Soft layers. The kind that give your hair movement, depth, and the appearance of genuine thickness even if thinning has been a concern for years. Of the 4 things a great haircut should do after 60, this one excels at 2. It creates softness around the face, and it draws the eye upward. The layers around your face act the way a skilled photographer uses lighting. They direct the viewer's gaze toward your eyes and your cheekbones, and they soften the jawline. The frame travels with you everywhere, every day. For fine hair specifically, the layers remove the weight that drags fine hair flat against the head. Remove the weight, and what replaces it is bounce and lift, right at the crown, exactly where the granny cut was flattening it. This is the most requested cut in salons for women over 60 right now. Once you experience it on your own head, you'll understand why. At your next appointment, say exactly this. I want a layered bob, chin to shoulder length, with soft layers around the crown and face, blown dry with a round brush for root lift. Write that down. Those specific words will produce a different result than anything you've asked for before. Haircut number 2, the textured pixie. Think about Helen Mirren, Jamie Lee Curtis, Halle Berry. These women are not wearing short hair in spite of their age. They are wearing it because of it. Because they understand something most people don't. After 60, certain features sharpen. The cheekbones become more defined. The facial structure asserts itself. And there is one cut that puts that structure on full, deliberate display, instead of covering it under length. That cut is the textured pixie. And before you decide it's not for you, I need to separate it from the version you might be afraid of. The pixie most women over 60 fear is tight, flat, uniform, pressed close to the head on all sides. That version is the granny cut's cousin. It does the same damage, flattens the crown, removes softness, makes the face look smaller. The textured pixie is built differently. The sides taper gently, yes, but the top is longer, tousled, layered, with movement that catches light and creates height at the crown. That height lifts the entire silhouette. And because the sides are shorter, your cheekbones, your eyes, your bone structure moves to the center of the picture. Of the 4 things a great cut should do, this one leads on drawing the eye upward and lifting the crown more dramatically than any other cut on this list. If you've spent years feeling like your hair has been hiding you rather than showing you, this cut was designed for that exact feeling. Ask for a textured pixie with longer layers on top and a soft taper on the sides. I want height at the crown and movement on top. 2 minutes to style in the morning. A fingertip of volumizing product, a quick lift with your fingers, and done. Quick question, and I genuinely want your answer. How many years have you had the same haircut? Drop the number in the comments right now. 3 years, 5, 9, like Patricia. Every woman who answers is part of a conversation happening in this video right now, and you are not as alone in this as you've probably felt. Number 3 solves something most women are genuinely embarrassed to name. I have never heard another channel talk about it the way it actually needs to be talked about. Stay right here. Haircut number 3, the choppy bob with curtain bangs. Are there lines on your forehead that you'd rather not be the first thing someone notices when they look at you? This cut addresses that. No cream, no procedure, no filter. The choppy bob sits at the jaw. The ends are slightly textured, not blunt, but with controlled irregularity that creates the visual impression of genuine density and thickness. If your hair has been looking limp or thin, what these textured ends do to the appearance of fullness will surprise you the first time you see it. But the element that makes this cut unlike anything else on this list, the curtain bangs. These are not regular bangs. Curtain bangs are soft, face-framing pieces that part gently in the middle and sweep toward each cheek. They don't sit flat across the forehead. They open, and what they open toward is your eyes. Your eyes, not your forehead, not the lines above it. The bangs literally redirect where someone's gaze lands first when they look at you. They create a path that leads straight to the most expressive part of your face. Jennifer Aniston has worn versions of curtain bangs throughout her career for exactly this reason. They work on every face shape, they frame rather than mask, and they are the most forgiving bang to maintain that exists. On the days you don't style them, push them to one side. They still look intentional. Of the 4 criteria, this cut excels specifically at drawing the eye upward and creating softness around the face. And it does it more quietly, more naturally than any other cut here. Ask for a jaw-length choppy bob with soft curtain bangs, parted in the middle, swept toward each cheek, face framing. Haircut number 4, the lob. Here it is. The cut that made Patricia's daughter call before 8 in the morning. The messages I've received about this specific cut are unlike anything else I've seen come through this channel. Women writing to say their closest friends thought they'd had something done. Husbands who'd stopped noticing, suddenly noticing. Women who hadn't felt like themselves in years. Who wrote that they cried in the salon parking lot because for the first time in a long time, the mirror showed them exactly who they are. The cut is the lob, the long bob. It sits just above the collarbone, longer than a classic bob, shorter than shoulder length. That specific zone is where movement, volume, and versatility converge in a way no other length can replicate. You can wear it straight, wavy, pinned back, with bangs, or tucked behind one ear. All of those looks are available to you with a single cut, without starting from scratch each morning. Celebrity stylist Gregory Patterson, who has worked with Anne Hathaway, Meryl Streep, and Carrie Underwood, has called this the haircut of 2026, specifically for women over 50 and 60. Not because it's fashionable, because it does all 4 things a great cut should do simultaneously. Lifts the crown, frames the face softly, draws the eye upward, and works with every texture from fine to coily. For silver and gray hair especially, the layering creates dimension inside the color itself. Strands catch light at different angles. Gray stops looking flat and starts looking luminous. Intentional. Like a decision you made, rather than something that happened to you. Here is the detail your stylist will not tell you unless you specifically ask. Have them cut it slightly longer in the front than the back. 1 inch. That one adjustment means you can still pull it back on the mornings when you need to. Sounds small. Every woman who's had it done will tell you it changes everything. Ask for a layered lob with pieces that frame the face, sitting just above the collarbone, slightly longer in the front than the back. 3 more cuts. I want to tell you what's coming, because 2 of them were built for something specific. Cut 6 is the only one on this list designed to work with glasses frames rather than fight them. And Cut 7, the one I promised you earlier, was engineered from scratch for women who have tried everything for thinning at the crown and felt like nothing works. I want you to see both. Stay with me. Haircut number 5, the flippy bob. Every other cut on this list falls or tucks. This one flips, outward, away from the neck. And that one detail shifts the entire personality of the style. Where most bobs feel polished and controlled, the flippy bob feels alive. The ends move, they catch light, they have direction. The result reads as playful and current, like you woke up and made a choice about how you wanted to look today. Not like something that just happened to your hair. Here is the practical insight that no one in this niche talks about. Hair growth slows after 60. Most cuts start looking grown out and shapeless within 6 weeks. The flippy bob is the exception. As the cut grows out, the flip becomes more natural, not less. The shape gets easier to maintain over time, not harder. You get more time between salon visits without the cut losing its energy. Think of it this way. Most cuts age between appointments. This one matures. Style it with a large barrel curling iron or flat iron, flicking each section outward as you finish. 10 minutes. The result looks like 20. Ask for a bob 2 to 3 inches below my chin with ends that flip outward. I want the ends to move away from the neck, not under it. That last phrase, not under it, is the one most people forget to say. It's the one that makes the entire difference. Haircut number 6, the feathered medium cut. Most women over 60 describe the same thing when they talk about what their hair has lost. Not just volume, something harder to name than that, a lightness, a softness. It used to move differently. It used to have a quality that's become harder and harder to find in the mirror. That quality has a name. It's called feathering. And this cut is built entirely around it. Feathering is a technique where your stylist uses the shears at an angle to carve very fine layers into the ends of the hair, so they taper to a wispy, airy finish rather than a blunt line. The result is hair that moves even when you're standing still. Hair that looks touchable from across a room. This is the quality that makes someone look at you and think, she looks well, without being able to say exactly what's different. It isn't the length, it isn't the color, it's the texture of the ends. And feathering is the only technique that creates it. For silver and gray hair, feathering does something remarkable. The angled ends catch light differently. Individual strands refract rather than absorb. Gray stops looking flat and starts looking dimensional. It looks like a choice rather than an absence. If you're embracing your natural color, this technique is one of the most powerful tools you have. And if you wear glasses, this is what I promised earlier. Most haircuts compete with frames. The ends hit the lenses, the volume crowds them. The result is visual noise that makes the whole look feel busy and, yes, older. The feathered medium cut wraps around frames instead of fighting them. The wispy ends frame the glasses. The two silhouettes work together. It's the only cut on this list designed with glasses in mind. Of the 4 criteria, this cut excels at working with your natural texture and creating softness, more than any other cut here. Ask for a medium-length feathered cut with face-framing layers and point-cut ends. I want the ends to be airy and wispy, not blunt. Haircut number 7, the stacked bob. If you have tried every product, every technique, every volumizing spray for thinning at the crown, and nothing has worked, I need you to understand why before I show you what does. Products add, techniques compensate. The stacked bob rebuilds. Here's how it works. Most cuts start at the front and work backward. The stacked bob begins at the crown, the exact place thinning hits first for most women over 60, and builds volume there deliberately. Shorter layers are stacked in the back, creating height and fullness at the top. Those layers gradually lengthen as they move toward the front, where the cut stays soft and flattering around the face. What this creates isn't just the appearance of thicker hair, it's an actual shape. A silhouette where the head looks full and rounded at the crown rather than flat across the top. That shape reads as younger, in the same way that good posture reads as younger. It's structural confidence. Celebrity stylist Marcus Francis, who specializes in mature hair and has been featured in Allure and Harper's Bazaar, describes it as the cut that solves thinning from the inside out. Because the volume isn't placed on top of the hair, it's built into the architecture of the cut itself. Of the 4 criteria, this cut does one thing better than any other on this list. It lifts the crown, completely, unapologetically, in a way that no product has ever been able to replicate, because products wash out. This shape stays. Ask for a softly stacked bob with subtle graduation in the back. I want volume and lift at the crown, with the front staying longer and soft around my face. Patricia chose the lob. She sent a message 3 weeks after her appointment. She said she'd started looking in mirrors again. Not because her hair was perfect, but because she recognized the woman looking back. That was the word she used. Recognized. There's a version of that feeling waiting for you. It starts with 1 appointment and 1 cut, and now you have 7 of them. What your stylist won't tell you, I promised you 3 things. Your stylist almost certainly knows, but will never volunteer. Here they are. And the last one is the one most people never hear. The first, bring 2 photos, not 1. 1 photo of the cut you want. 1 photo of a cut you actively dislike. So your stylist knows exactly what direction you're moving away from, not just toward. Here is why this matters. Most salon miscommunications happen because the stylist is walking toward a goal without knowing what the client is running away from. 2 photos solve that instantly. Then say out loud, I want volume at the crown, soft layers around my face, and something I can style in under 10 minutes. Every word in that sentence tells your stylist something specific about your hair, your life, and your goal. This conversation takes 30 seconds and prevents years of the wrong cut. The second color is part of the haircut. Any of these 7 cuts performs dramatically better with dimension in the color. Flat, single-tone hair blends into the scalp and reads as thin. Add highlights, even subtle baby lights or soft balayage, and individual strands begin to catch light at different angles. Hair looks thicker, not because there's more of it, because light is now hitting each strand differently. Ask your colorist about face-framing highlights specifically. They create brightness around the eyes, which draws the gaze upward. The same direction every cut on this list is trying to pull it. The third, and this is the one, volumizing mousse is a styling product, not a hair care product. Your stylist applies it to your damp roots in the chair and says nothing about it. Here's what they're doing. Applying volumizing mousse to the roots before blow drying, then lifting as they go. That's the technique. That's the entire secret behind hair that looks styled versus hair that looks flat. Apply mousse to damp roots. Blow dry with a round brush. Lift at the crown as you go. And separately, dry shampoo is not a washing substitute. It's a volume tool. Used on dry roots the day after washing, it adds grip and texture that a fresh blowout sometimes can't. Use it at the roots before you style, not after. That one change in timing is what makes the difference. Before you close this video, book the appointment. Not think about booking. Not save this for later. The moment you close this video is almost always the moment the decision disappears. You felt something watching one of these 7 cuts. You know which one. Honor that feeling before the day takes it from you. And then come back here and tell me which cut it was. Or, and this is my favorite thing that happens in these comments, tell me which one you already have. Because your story, just like Patricia's, might be exactly what another woman watching right now needs to finally pick up the phone. If this video was worth your time, a like takes 1 second, and it helps this reach the women who need it most. The next video is one I'd go watch right now. We're covering the hair colors making women over 60 look genuinely radiant, not acceptable, not nice for your age, radiant. The kind of color that makes the haircut even better. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. I'll see you there. And remember, elegance is not something you grow out of. It is something you grow into.